Senator Xenophon, state election November 27, how important are the pokies?
Well, it is important. It's a very important issue, and the fact is Labor and Liberal governments have failed on this issue, and here's a chance for people to actually say this is an important issue, this is destroying communities, it's destroying lives, and state governments are so hooked on the revenue that they won't do anything decisive about it.
And what sort of policies should we be seeing from the major parties to take decisive action?
Well, a whole range of policies. I mean, firstly, having ATMs in venues, get rid of them ASAP. That's something that state governments can do here and now. Not allowing advertising of poker machines, restricting advertising generally for other forms of gambling in terms of sports betting and online gambling. But with poker machines, there's legislation that will be coming up in the federal parliament as a result of Andrew Wilkie, which is very encouraging in terms of mandatory pre-commitment. But the state government can enhance and support that by putting up a number of measures before that time, and that is, getting rid of ATMs. They can slow down the rate of play of machines. They can also do a whole range of measures to make poker machines much, much safer, because right now they're a very dangerous product.
Now, you're in Melbourne today. You were out in Sunbury for the launch of an independent campaign. Lorraine Bayer, tell us about that.
Well, Lorraine Bayer really fought hard on poker machines to keep pokies out of her local community in the Romsey decision, took it all the way to the Supreme Court, and that's an example of a sort of grassroots community activism, and I think that's important. I think that you can show that she's not only talked the talk, as some politicians do on pokies, but she's walked the walk by fighting these things in the courts.
And you're endorsing her campaign?
And even yours.
The emergence of independent candidates and on the pokies, how important is that after what you and Andrew Wilkie and others have done for the Victorian election?
Look, I think voters have seen the power of independence, and when it can really work in terms of enhancing democracy, making governments more accountable, and we've seen what's happened in the federal sphere, where independence, as a result of holding the balance of power, we've now seen a wholesale reform of question time, the parliamentary process, private members' bills getting debated and voted on for the very first time. In fact, one of the first bills that will get through is a bill I co-sponsored with Andrew Wilkie for journalist shield laws, so that for the first time journalists will actually have some decent legal protections. They won't face jail if they protect a source that's clearly in the public interest. And we know what happened here with McManus and Harvey, that case there where those two journalists were convicted. They've got criminal records because they exposed the former government, the Howard government, in terms of leaks about potential pension cuts, war pension cuts. So that's an example of, even in the first couple of weeks of this so-called new paradigm, you've seen some significant changes to the way Parliament operates and new ideas being looked on in a much more receptive way.
Now, Senator Xenophon, you've inspired many people. I've been inspired by you. I'm running as an independent on a no pokies platform in Northern Metropolitan. You got any tips as to how to pull this one off?
Well, I just think you need to be persistent. You need to get people out the booths. You need to get your message across, because it's a strong message, and you have a track record of fighting on poker machines, and I think it's important. I mean, I think poker machines are a litmus test of good government. If a government is prepared to let its citizens get destroyed because of poker machines, then what else are they doing wrong? And I think pokies are a litmus test of good government, and that's what this election should be about.
Okay. Senator Xenophon, thanks for your time.
Pleasure.